Amy Kid with Designer Flower Center, and today I'll be showing you how to make this St. Patrick's bow. I know St. Patrick's is maybe not like the biggest holiday, but it's still super fun to decorate your house. You can put this on the mailbox, you can put this on your front gates or wherever you want, inside your house, in the kitchen, just to add a little festive to your St. Patrick's Day. So we're gonna make this one, but I also made a different version, just of colors. This one's a little bit a darker green themed St. Patrick's bow, and this one's a little bit of a lighter themed. But I made two just so you can see what you can do. Alright, so first, for this bow, we have the clover ribbon there. We have just like a darker green. This one has specks of gold in it, because whenever I think of St. Patrick's, I always think of green and gold, pot of gold. And then we have this sheer green, light green, as well as this really pretty gold ribbon. And the materials, or the instruments that you'll need, I have chenille wires for the tie in the back. That's what you'll tie it to whatever. I have two sizes of zip ties, a bigger version and a smaller, skinnier version. Pair of scissors, a zip tie gun, and I also have a measuring tape. Sometimes I like to just kind of see how much ribbon I'm going to be using. Majority of the time, because I want about 18 inches in the length of the tail, the 4-looped bow always comes out to about 3 yards, as well as like the other 4-loop bow, and relatively 2.5 to 3 yards for a 3-looped bow, and about 48 inches for a single loop bow with long tails. I kind of like to measure out just in case, like if you're planning on making multiple bows in any festive, like Christmas or whatever, you can look at how many yards you have. So this is a 50-yard bolt, and if you need to make like a dozen bows, you want to maximize your bolt and see how many you can get out of one bolt. And so you can always measure out exactly per bow what you're gonna need, just so that way you know how much to buy or know how much you're gonna need per bow. So you can measure out. I usually like to just pre-do like 3 yards and then just see if that's the amount, kind of make it without cutting it off the bolt, and just see like, okay, this is relatively how much I'll need for each bow. So just in case you're making more than one, you can always measure out and just see how many you can get out of each bolt. But okay, yeah, so let's get started. I've already made one of the 4-looped bows because I'll be making another one just to save time, but here it is. And I cut the ends in a V. And I also made just the front, this little single loop bow. It's super easy. I'll just show you really quickly. Whoops. Alright, so just for the single loop, again, I like about 18 inches of a tail, which is probably right about there. And just for a single loop, you'll just get your loop. And I'm working off the bolt. I keep everything on the bolt until the end when I cut it off. But make your desired loop size, which is probably right around there. And I just do a little twist in the back, twist it around, and kind of scrunch it together. And then you'll just zip tie this. Tie it tight, cut it off, and then you'll have your single loop bow. So super simple, super easy. Yeah, so I'm gonna start with the clover, and again, we're gonna just do about 18-inch tail, just like that. Probably right around there. And I'm gonna make my first loop, like just as so. And then I like to just hold it. I'm right-handed, so I hold everything in my left. And I'm gonna do my first twist to make my first loop, and I always start the first twist towards me because you want the pattern to always show on the outside, so this twist helps the pattern go on the outside. And so this is what the twist looks like in the back, just a simple little twist. And then I'm gonna make my loop that like kind of like that, there we go. to make my next loop. So I'm gonna hold it like in my left hand, just like that. And then I'm gonna make the next twist away from my face, so kind of going outside. That way the pattern always shows on the outside. So when I make my next loop, the pattern is showing. And then my next loop will be towards me, just like that. Nice turn. The cleaner the twist, the more like everything holds secure and the loops look really good. So yeah, so then I have my next little loop. So I have 4 loops, and then I like to just grab everything like this, hold it all down, and just kind of adjust everything in my hand, holding everything tight so that way nothing moves, but you can kind of fix it so that way before you zip tie everything down, it is exactly where you want it to be. So I think this is pretty good. So I'm gonna grab my green zip tie, and I slide it against my palm underneath that, push it up with my fingers, and zip tie it off, just like so. And then we have our first bow, and I like to adjust it before I really pull it tight, just so I know exactly where it's gonna end up. I pull it tight, and then I'm gonna cut it off with my scissors, just so. And then I'm gonna cut it off the bolt and just line it up, so, and I'll just cut it off. So there we go, we have the clover. You can pull it apart, so that way the bows are apart, and you can fluff it up as well. Just so, there we go. All right, and now I'm gonna show you how to make the 3-loop bow. So again, start with about 18 to 20 inches, depending on how long you want your tail to be. And I'm going to start with my loop. Again, twist towards you and make sure it's right where you want it to be. And then you're gonna make your loop and then twist away from you. And then you're gonna make your last loop, and then that's it. So when you zip tie it off, the tails are gonna be on the same side rather than like opposite sides, but that's perfectly fine, because at the end when you zip tie everything together, they'll be separated. So I'm gonna take my zip tie, slide it against my palm, and zip tie it in. And before I really make sure it's like secure, I leave it a little loose so I can kind of just adjust the sizing of everything and pull my tails just to make sure that the loops are the size I want it to be. Alright, and that should be good, and I'm gonna pull it tight. Alright, let me cut this off. And then I'm gonna line up my tails and cut off the bolt. Alrighty, so here it is, 3-loop bow. And now we are ready to assemble the bow. So I usually start with the base, and I put it in my left hand, and I kind of hold it, kind of like everything's sitting on this. I don't know how to explain it, but just kind of resting on my hand, because I can just easily grab everything, like so. And I can just start lining every component of the bow in my hand. And I always line up the zip ties. I like to look and just line up the zip ties so I know everything's at the same level as well. So I like to pull the tails down, make sure everything's in place. Go ahead and add the next layer, which is my 3-loop. And the last loop, which is a single loop. Just like that. Go ahead and grab your large zip tie, and I'm gonna slide it against my palm, just like so, and go to one side of the single loop, just so that way everything's all together. Zip tie it in, and before you pull it tight, you can move the zip tie head to the back. And before you pull it tight, I like to just kind of stick my finger in the back so that everything's tight, but that way I can adjust everything. Like I have full control of the bow, but I like to just kind of place everything where I want them to be before I fully pull it tight. Just kind of make sure like everything's sitting exactly where I'd like it to be. So that looks pretty good. And yeah, so that looks pretty good. Okay, and then I'm gonna grab my chenille wire and just feed that through the loop in the back. Fold it in half, and then pull the zip tie tight. And then I'm gonna take my zip tie gun and cut off the end. And all right, so I have the bow. And then I like to just cut the ends either in a diagonal or a V, just to clean it up. And yeah, so there you have it. We have our St. Patrick's bow. I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. And yeah, feel free to just decorate your house with a lot of green. And this little pop of gold is just perfect because it's like pot of gold. And yeah, so there we go. There we have it. And now we have perfect decorations for your house. So I hope you enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching.